So will Al-Qaeda now suffer an irreparable blow to its dark ideology, or will they use the occasion to stoke the flames of further hatred? Raghida Dergham is the senior correspondent and UN bureau chief for the newspaper Al Hayat, and she joins us this afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Is it your feeling that the death of bin Laden is an injury to Al-Qaeda, or will it provoke potential terrorists around the world to seek some kind of revenge?
It's a very serious injury for Al-Qaeda. Ayman Zawahiri is not of the caliber of Osama bin Laden. So I think on every level, not only on the charismatic level, but also on getting the financing that's needed for such operations, that would also be affected. There may be reprisals, and one would have to be quite prudent to expect them. But even if there are reprisals, I think that is not a resurgence for Al-Qaeda, because I think the damage is done. And in particular, because in the Arab world, what you see right now is an Arab Spring, and this Arab Spring benefits from taking off the table the issue of Al-Qaeda from its midst. It has been a generation that has been raised for 2 decades under the shadow of the doctrine of Osama bin Laden on one hand, and the doctrine of George W. Bush, because he said it's the war on terrorism. So this new generation that is making the Arab Spring has probably an opening that will enhance its drive forward.
Is it your view that the president's conduct since he became president has been helpful in terms of taking that tension and pressure down?
Indeed, the president has been quite helpful. I think he's trying to do the Mahatma Gandhi towards the Muslims, but the Che Guevara towards the Arab Revolution, if you will. But I think it is also the way, the respect that he shows to Muslims and to Arabs. However, the most important thing for me is that what has happened in the last 24 hours shows that President Barack Obama has the resolve. He can deliver, and that is going to affect very strongly his function as president, the way the world sees him. The world will see him as a man who delivers, and that's going to impact his foreign policy and the way the world deals with him. I think this is probably it also may be the beginning or the strategy of getting out of Afghanistan. As you know, this is called Obama's war in Afghanistan. This probably will be the beginning of the exit strategy from Afghanistan.
Going back to the president, of course there's a president in Pakistan, and President Obama's counterterrorism advisor, John Brennan, has said that they didn't inform the Pakistan government at all beforehand. They didn't connect to them during the operation, and they said nothing until they'd left. Do you believe that the Pakistani authorities knew nothing about this?
Well, I'm not able to challenge officials who say so, but I was sitting before I came to you with some very high-ranking Pakistanis, and they were insinuating rather clearly that it is unfathomable to think that this all happened without Pakistani knowledge, but in fact even partnership in this. The explanation as to why the Pakistanis might not want to take credit and would rather keep the distance, and they would rather be seen as those who had no clue of what's going on, is the fear of reprisals. And that is convincing to me to a certain extent, because if you take a look at the operation, it's rather impossible to see right outside of the Pakistani capital, and with the fact that, you know, this is a very, the military in Pakistan is a rather awake military, it's not an asleep one, that all of this would have happened without its knowledge, but in fact even with its participation.
Raghida Dergham, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Next, families of 9/11 victims.